So the book is called Changing Shape, The Faith Lives of Millennials. In short, it is a piece of research done from interviews with 50 young adults who told me the story of their 20s and what happened to their faith during that journey. They now fall into three categories. There are some who no longer believe there's a God, who are apostate. There are some who I call the disillusioned. So they love Jesus, want to live for his kingdom, but do not trust or like church, or would just want church to be something other than it is. And then there are a group who are what Matthew Guest in Durham calls active affirmers, who are those who are most committed and still involved. I think there are four things that it became evident to me young adults need in order for their faith to thrive. This is a generation that values experience. So experience of God, the presence of God, theology and cognitive faith that makes sense of their lived experience. A third thing would be community. And this is the kicker again and again and again. What came up was that the young adults whose faith had thrived have been part of a supportive faith community. And then the fourth thing, I think, for millennials, not just millennials, but it was very clear from the stories I heard, is that people need a vision, something to invest their lives in, something that makes them want to get out of bed in the morning, or whether they're doing that inside church or outside church. Well, I've been in ministry with young adults for 20 years. And I think anybody that does ministry ends up with a lot of questions. For me, one of the questions was, why is it that some of those I supported, mentored, encouraged when they were 20 are now church leaders or, I've got just really profound faith in all sorts of professions, not just full-time Christian work, and some of them don't believe there's a God anymore. And so this research was an endeavour to try and find some of the answers to my questions, but I think they're actually questions that anybody who does ministry with young adults has. It's important to understand that we live in a time where growing up has changed radically. What has happened now is that basically the rules are off. There are no rules. The philosopher Zygmunt Bauman talks about the liquefaction of Western society, that all the things people thought they could stand on have turned effectively to mud. There's nowhere solid to stand. And so I think as a church we have to recognise that yes, millennials have and are experiencing this, but it's not going to change for the generations coming behind. This is the new normal, and those of us who are older, whose path was more straightforward, we don't get it. And millennials are willing to tell us what it's like. And so I think it's really important that we listen, and we listen well, and don't assume that the way life was for us is the way life is for them. Authenticity is such an important part of their rationale, their thinking, their value system, that things that are inauthentic, things that don't do what it says on the tin, then they're not going to go with that. So I actually think there's a lot that the church can learn from those values of relationality, altruism, loyalty to people that I think are beautiful, personally. I'm not going to lie, I was told some stories that literally made me weep, of just things. I just wanted to apologise to the young adults that had experienced them. But I also found really brave, faithful, kind disciples of Jesus, who, despite being, 2 or 3% of their generation, they're really up for it. 97% of young adults may not go to church, but the 3% that go, they go because they mean it. My dream would be that it could be used to facilitate conversations across generations. And there is this wealth of wisdom and love, but in the church, of how to follow Jesus for a lifetime. But I think we need generations to sit down and talk to each other and pray together and work it out together. And that would be my dream for the book, is if it could facilitate that.